G'day folks, Jeff here with my retrospective on the mighty Blood Duster. G'day folks, welcome back. Here's the first in my series of videos of retrospective deep dives into some of my favourite Aussie metal bands. First up is Melbourne's Blood Duster, who from 1991 to 2017 terrorised the Aussie music scene with as much gay abandon as they could manage, and believe me, there was plenty. They are what we like to call in Australia loose units. In other words, they're raucous, uncouth, uncontrolled, and we loved it. They were legendary on stage as well as off stage. They're quite famous for giving out very amusing interviews, dressing in tracksuits and acting like homeboys on stage, and yeah. But most of all, they were interesting. That was the most important part. Too many metal bands are bland personalities. They just get up on stage and do their thing and bugger off. But Blood Duster were the whole package. They had the awesome tunes, but as well as the amusing rock star attitude. And they loved it. And everyone loved it. Blood Duster will never be forgotten. Now, before we start, I should give out a language content warning. I'll probably put it on the thumbnail as well, just to garner up a bit of attention. But these boys had some rude song titles and rude t-shirts and rude flyers and rude album covers and rude album names. So yeah, I'll be using a few swear words. Mum, you might not want to watch this one. But yeah, so consider yourselves warned. For this retrospective, I'm just going to go through all their releases essentially, and a few stories about gigs and other bits and pieces. So yeah, they had a lot of releases and I own most of them, so this is a bit of bragging about my collections video, but also retrospective of a band I've always loved. So alright, first up from 1992 is the Menstrual Soup demo. This was recorded in August 91. This had the original lineup of Jason PC, who was there the whole time, as well as Brick and Anthony Barry. Pretty sure Anthony was in an old Melbourne death metal band called Damnatory, who were just ridiculously heavy. I never saw them live, but I have a live tape somewhere, and all you can hear is the singer just wiping out the whole music with very loud, very deep vocals. That's all I ever heard about that band. I should have seen the vocalist. But yeah, so this is their first demo, or first and only demo really for Blood Duster. It's a bit more sort of death grind, a bit more, you know, Impetigo sort of style. I love it, even though it's completely different to any of their other stuff. Dr. Artery is probably my favourite song, but Ted's another corker as well. We used to play it on the radio a bit. I first heard this at my old mate Andy's house in Beelar in Canberra. He played it to me at a party, and it was at eye opener. He played me the song Swine in Shit, which is about the singer of Christbait, who they're friends with, and essentially it's just pig snorting and then blasting and screaming. It got my attention, put it that way, much like all Blood Duster really. So I managed to buy this original tape off Jason himself when I didn't realise he was actually in the band at the time, but it's probably why he gave me a discount. Thanks, mate. He worked at Extreme Aggression, which I think was a Modern Invasion music sort of shop front. I got that on my exciting trip to Melbourne with the Alchemist Boys. That was a good trip. But it also did come out on picture disc on 7-inch. Ooh, fancy. And also on CD. For some reason, a somewhat wanky shaped, very small CD. I mean, it's not very long, but anyway, Bizarre Leprous put that one out, so nice work. So I haven't actually played my tape for many years because my tape player doesn't work, but anyway, I got other formats of the. I never did see them live in this era. I think they only played a handful of gigs. I heard that they played one gig with a projecting a porno in the background, which I'm sure was fun for the crowd. I begged them to play a song off this live at their final gig, but no luck. Well, not that I noticed at any rate. I was marginally tipsy maybe, but I'm pretty sure they didn't play anything off this. And yeah, just very rarely did play any of it. So, but yeah, great first start. Up next is 1993's Fisting the Dead. This one is an album apparently, even though it's like 20 minutes long and probably about 12 minutes long without samples. But anyway, this did very well on my top 20 Aussie metal albums of all time video, so I recommend you watch that one as well. This is pretty much a completely different lineup other than Jason on bass, who's, yeah, obviously there the whole time. They got Tony from Antics, never did see or hear that band, as well as Shane and Brad from an old Melbourne death metal band called Hecatomb. They were pretty bloody killer. Their Deep Sensory something or other demo was, yeah, really good. I'll take this opportunity to apologise to my old friend Irene Kim. Sorry for buggering up your demo of that. I borrowed it off her and, yeah, left it on the front seat of my car at a very hot day at uni and kind of melted. Sorry. Yeah, the sun is... That's why I hate tapes. They're shit. Well, I suppose if I'd had it on record, that would have melted as well. But anyway. So yeah, this is quite a different lineup and quite a different sound, really. It's a lot punchier, shorter sort of songs. They've removed the death thing. It's pretty much just straight grind, but man, damn good grind. They've still got that groove running throughout, which never leaves Bloodduster, and yeah, there's some legendary songs on here. This version is, as you can see, the original one is all black and white because the printer apparently wouldn't print it because for some reason they printed the inner bit where the CD goes in full colour, which, as you can see, is a body part. There's some reason this never... I think when they re-released it as Fisting the Dead Again, maybe it's a full colour version of that. I never did pick that up, but that had it was a different re-release version, and I kind of regret not grabbing it, so I might try and track it down at some stage. It had that album and songs off the Sounds of Ordinary Madness compilation, but from the look of it, it had cool interviews and stuff in there, so I kind of regret that I didn't grab that one. I don't know if it had lyrics in it, because that's one thing that this original version never had lyrics. I'm pretty sure I used to have a photocopy of the lyrics. I don't know whether... this feeling I got it off my old mate Chris, but I don't know where the hell he got it from. Maybe you could write away for it, or I don't know. But yeah, legendary album. This was just came out on Dr. Jim's Records, which is a Melbourne sort of weird little alternative label that mostly, well, they put out metal as well as other weird experimental sort of stuff like Peril and Phlegm, but the metal stuff, yeah, they put out the first 4 Bloodduster albums or releases, as well as Christbait's killer Yeest EP and Magnesite's amazing Safety in the Workplace album, so damn good label. Very happy with that. Yeah, there is yet another re-release version of this with a more modern Gleno cover that I do own somewhere, but I couldn't find it, so it must be in the shed somewhere. It's got an extra, I think it's a live gig from '93. So this lineup, which is impressive. The gig is on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure it's on some other thing that I've got as well. I don't know. There's a lot of reissues of Bloodduster stuff, but yeah, so I'd recommend tracking any version down. I appear to have at least 2 versions of this original Dr. Jim's one that I found in the shed the other day. So yeah, I got a backup just in case it ever dies. But yeah, legendary first album. Up next, I had 5 songs on the Sounds of Ordinary Madness compilation. This came out on Deported Records in, I think, '94. It was a record label run by Scott Harper, who produced the Bloodduster demo and was in Magnesite, killer band. This is a legendary compilation. It's got tracks by Christbait, Magnesite, Subversion, Bloodduster, Damaged, Bean Flipper, Necrotomy, Warp Spasm, Mulgrinder, Tutti Party, Drope, and Hate Factory. And Hate Factory was actually... I think it was a live recording of Fear Factory dicking around with, I think it was members of Christbait on vocals doing what I'm pretty sure is a Brujeria song. At any rate, cool little thing to have. This came with a booklet, like a fanzine as well, that I do own, but I'm not sure where it is. But anyway, it'll show up as soon as I've recorded this. I do have a full scan version of it on my Flickr account, which my Flickr account I'll put down below in the description. It's got a heap of old Aussie flyers, but I scanned in all of the fanzines, so it's worth a read. The highlights are probably Jason PC from Bloodduster interviewing Christbait, as well as his own interview with Scott. He's just, yeah. This is the start of his somewhat amusing antics and outlandish statements in interviews. It's worth a read. The tracks on here were they're alright. There's like a Napalm cover, I think, and they're nothing amazing. It's the original Fisting lineup. After that, I think Brad left and went into Mindsnare, and Shane the drummer left and started Abyssy Kate, somewhat slightly sketchy Aussie black metal band, but a bloody good band. This is the final recording of that lineup, and it's hardly worth getting, but the whole compilation is definitely worth getting, especially if you can get the zine. But the Damaged and Christbait songs on here are much better, as is the Necrotomy one. But anyway. Up next is 1995's Yeest. This came out on Dr. Jim's, and love that charming artwork. It's apparently someone with syphilis, as you would imagine. I'm a deviant and own a t-shirt of that from way back in the day, so I'll put a picture up now. Also, charming CD as well. Those boys like to push some buttons. This was their first release with Rizzo on drums and Finn on guitar. This has got like backing vocals from Jamie and Skits from Damaged and V from Christbait. And it's much better production than Fisting. Sounds really good, actually. Fortunately, it's really bloody short, as I think it's the start of their stupid noise bits at the end of songs. This is around the first time when I saw them. I think it was after this. I'll put the flyer up because it's a great flyer. They played at a venue called the Asylum that used to be in the city in Canberra. It was an upstairs venue that I saw a number of good bands, including New Zealand band Head Like a Hole, with two members played naked the whole gig. It's like, thanks fellas, I really wanted to see all of that. I did see a ton of awesome gigs there, but apparently the Prodigy played there very early in the day. I didn't see them, unfortunately, but it was a great venue, and this gig was rather late, I seem to recall. Melbourne bands always seem to play very late. I don't know what it is about them, but at any rate, this one was killer. It was Bloodduster they never played very long gigs, but this one was pretty short, I think. They always like to leave the crowd wanting more, I believe, was their ethos. It was just amazing. The whole crowd were keen as a bean. I think this is a gig that Alchemist played with him where I think some yobbo smashed his glass on the stage and cut Adam, the singer's leg. And I just remember Roy, the other guitarist, just launching at this guy. I can't remember what happened, if they both got arrested, or I assume that they just continued playing and that guy got carted out. It was a fun venue, that one, and great first gig of Bloodduster. All they had to play was Fisting and Yeast sort of songs. They didn't have that long that they could have played anyway, but that was a great start. I always wanted this t-shirt of the charming flyer because it's charming. I think my mate Chris still owns that. Occasionally he wears it. Jealous. If they're ever going to reissue a shirt, I'd love that one. I believe it was called Chainsaw Bitches. Charming. Those first two releases only came out locally in Australia, so I've no idea whether the rest of the world had access to them or not. I do have an ad for Wild Rags plugging Fisting the Dead, so I'm assuming that Richard got a batch of them. This feeling that Fisting was supposed to be a split with Impetigo or someone or other, but anyway. Thankfully, Relapse reissued Yeest and Fisting the Dead on one CD, which is a charming cover or picture on the back. With lyrics even. This has got lyrics to most of the songs on both releases. It was good to see. There's also a hidden dance remix right at the start of this. Not sure why. What the hell. It pretty much rivals Pungent Stench and what was that other one, that Brutal Truth one as well, of just stupid dance tracks with a metal song sampled. Ridiculous, but quite good fun actually. forgot that even existed until I was researching for this. I'm like, oh wow, track 0. Here you go. But yeah, I was very glad that this got them a lot more exposure. I'm sure it really helped their cause as well. Yeah, just to have this on a big label like Relapse probably did them great. I saw them on a number of compilations as well, so yeah, the Bloodduster word got out, which is excellent. I also forgot that I have this on record. This was put out on with both Yeest and Fisting on Drug Bust Records, which I think is probably their own label, or a very small one. I don't think there's that many copies of this. I was glad I managed to pick this up at Impact, I think, or maybe a gig or something or other, I don't know. Well worth it though. Up next is a live recording of them from 1996 from the Iron Duke in Sydney on the Brutal Truth tour. This actually came out in 2006, but yeah, what the hell, chronologically, it was when it was recorded. Yeah, they did a number of tours, I think, with Brutal Truth. I'm pretty sure Jason bought them out, so I'll put up some nice flyers, because they were, yeah, very fun gigs. There's only a couple of straight out of Northcote songs on this, and so I'd say most of it probably wasn't written at this stage. This is like Finn and Rizzo era as well. Tony hadn't quite developed his over-the-top frontman banter by this stage, but it didn't take him much longer. This has the song Vulgar Taste, is they quite regularly used in the middle of it. They'd play different songs for, you know, a couple of bars and then back into the song. This one has them doing a Damage song, and then I think it goes into like Supernaut by Sabbath. I've seen them do other versions where they do like In the Shadow of the Horns, Raining Blood, and maybe like an SOD song as well, I think. I can't remember. There's probably a ton more. They had fun with Vulgar Taste. This is around the era where I think they started playing Metal for the Brains, which was a big metal festival in Canberra that I may do another video on at some stage. Yeah, Bloodduster, they played it the second most times. Alchemist were always the winner. They played all of them. But yeah, I think they had about 9 appearances or something or other, Bloodduster, or thereabouts. I remember one of them, Jason played naked, which was probably a little naughty, seeing they were all ages gigs with kids there, but what the hell. Everyone's got one. Yeah, this is surprisingly good quality, actually. If you can track this down, this came out on Straight Up Records from Sydney. I don't know, I'm pretty sure there's only 500 of them or something or other, but worth tracking down. I don't think this is released on anything else, but yeah, good quality. Up next is 1997's Straight Out of Northcote. I had to dig around the shed to find this original version of it. I've usually got the reissue out just so you can see the quality album cover in its entirety. Yeah, let's hope that doesn't come out too well. Yeah, it's a little rude. Photoshopped, I'm quite sure, I hope. The rest of the CD is good as well. Like, the CD itself is obviously a McDonald's top, and on the inside they got like a photo of the band, but if you look carefully, I think that's Rizzo, who was no longer in the band at the time. Suddenly his head's been replaced with a penis. Anyway, charming boys. And the back cover as well has Kai's piss take as well, of course. That didn't really come out very well, but anyway. Yeah, this is their second proper album. This is the only one with Finn on it, and yeah, he brings his southern sort of groove to it very well. This is their grooviest one by far, I reckon. There's I would never say it's got like stoner sort of major influences, but it does have a bit of that feel to it, just a rock sort of feel to it. Yeah, this is the only one with Ewan from Abramlin on drums. This is a period where Rizzo was not in the band. I love a lot of these songs, and it's great that they sampled the movie, the great classic Aussie movie Bad Boy Bobby, which I recommend everyone check out. It's a it's a corker. That's the bit where they're talking about "I'll cut your prick off." That sample, and this has got a sadly underutilized thing. I believe it's Finn's mum plays organ on the song Chop Chop, which is like this just groovy 70s organ. It sounds bloody awesome. I love it. And yeah, there's a number of classic Duster songs. They didn't actually play a huge amount of this live afterwards, unfortunately. The Meat song, which is brackets Stiffy and McDonald's, is one of my favourites on here for sure. It's just got a great groove, and that sample of the vegan protest is classic. And yeah, Ooh Ah is another of my favourites. That's a corker. This was also reissued at some stage by Shock, maybe, or actually this is a relapse version with newer Gleno art. This has got like a batch of live tracks and like demo versions and stuff like that. It's not too bad, and I've also got it on record, which I had to buy off Jason himself when he was selling it. Comes with like a bonus 7-inch for some reason. I think they're the demo songs maybe, so yeah. Not a bad little score. Another drug bust release, or goat sound probably. Yeah, that's a very enjoyable album. That one also, yeah, as you saw, came out on Relapse as well. So hopefully they did good business for them. And yeah, that was they started playing live a bit more around that period. So I was happy to see a lot of that stuff live. It went down very well. Around this time, Bloodduster and a whole lot of other bands appeared in a film clip of a legendary old Aussie sort of weird rock band called Tism, which is This Is Serious Mum. They're, yeah, you probably haven't heard of them overseas, but in Australia they're, yeah, legendary. They had a song called Thunderbirds Are Coming Out, and they did a film clip where it was essentially just a camera on a dolly just rolling down, I think it was a wharf somewhere. And it just had all these different bands, like completely unrelated bands, all set up, just pretending to play that song as it rolled along. I do believe you could actually see an unmasked member of Tism, because they always performed in like balaclavas, and you didn't really know who they were, although I think it's somewhat obvious now. They actually just reformed and played recently at a festival, I think, so good work. But yeah, it's part way along after, like, you know, pop punk bands of God knows what is. There's Bloodduster with like, yeah, I'll put a still up. It looked like they were having a grand time, and you know they're only on screen for like, you know, 10-15 seconds sort of thing, just being dickheads as usual. But yeah, it's a great film clip. I think right at the end it actually gets to Tism about to play and the song ends. So yeah, they had some very amusing film clips over the years, Tism, and yeah, a similar sort of attitude and disregard for authority that Bloodduster had, so I'm sure they were kindred spirits. I like to run around, rubbing my They had yet another lineup change after this, with Finn out and Matt Collins, aka Matty Lowpants, in on guitar, and Rizzo returned on drums. And in 2000 they produced the charmingly titled Cunt. So subtle. It says it on the side, and I love the fact that it even says it down the eye of the CD. Oh, idiots. I'm not showing you the inside of this. It's rather gross. It's a horrible close-up of what I think is a penis. Anyway, don't look it up on Discogs. Do it. This is a bit more full-on than straight out of Northcote. It's back to the slightly grindier sort of days. But yeah, then again, there's a hell of a lot of groove in this as well. Like Porn Store Stiffy's probably one of my favourite songs. It's just, yeah, it sort of follows on from Showered with Affection Part 2 for simple grooves, and had awesome film clip that I definitely recommend you checking out. It's them taking the piss out of Korn and themselves and everyone basically. And it's intellectual as always, and I mean, what man-child doesn't like to sing along to I want to rub on my stiffy, and I want to fuck a corpse is another of the charming lines that goes down very well live. Yeah, this version doesn't have lyrics, unfortunately, but I think the Relapse version and the later reissue does. My highlights on this are probably, I love it when Joe Pesci swears, pissing contests, corpse song, and sweetmeat, but whole thing's killer. It's got great samples as well, and yeah, an Impetigo cover at the end as well. This sort of era is pretty much when they started playing live quite a bit more. Got a bit more infamous. They appeared in, I think this is Picture magazine. I'll put pictures up on it, censored slightly. Yeah, Picture Magazine was like just a lad's mag, you could say, with nude pictures and stupid articles, and yeah, Bloodduster was perfect for that. I'm surprised they went in it more often, to tell the truth. I think Sadistic Execution might have been in there once as well, in Picture or People. I can never remember which is which. And yeah, this is the era when they started, they put out t-shirts with just cunt written on them right across the front. Story goes that I've seen in some interviews where I think James Hetfield from Metallica wanted to buy one when they played with them at Big Day Out, but they'd sold out. Oh, poor James. Of course, I own one of the earlier versions of the shirt, which just has it in block writing across the front. I'll put a picture of. I did also get a hoodie, which has got it in nice sort of, Cyrillic kind of spiffier looking writing. But yeah, they had a lot of wonderful shirts over the years. I'll put up some of their various charming shirts. I'm sure the Cunt ones got them in trouble, or got the wearers in trouble quite a bit. I can't say I wore mine very often, to tell the truth. It's not really something you wear out to the shops or to church or anything like that. So this was actually also released on record, on Drug Bust Records again, so I believe this one's worth quite a pretty penny. I've seen it go quite expensive on eBay once, I think, or Discogs. So yeah, that's damn fine era. Up next is 2002's DFF EP, or Drink Fight Fuck. Not sure why after they put an album called Cunt out, they had to abbreviate it on their cover, but anyway. I always thought this was a G.G. Allin song, but it's not. But it's one of their more popular rock sort of songs, and they played it live a hell of a lot. Might have even been the final song they ever played live at the last gig. It always went down well. One of the other tracks on here is 66.6 on Your Dial, which was used on a TV ad for a company called Reflex that made photocopy paper for some reason, even though they make photocopy paper that they used to make a whole lot of ads on TV for it, and they were always sort of amusing, wacky sort of ads. There's some really good ones over the years, including the Bloodduster one, which is essentially a woman putting a conference call on hold while they waited for some other businessmen, and the hold music is Bloodduster blasting away. It's a good little ad. You can find it on YouTube, I think. So yeah, it's certainly, they even mention contains a song in that Reflex commercial as heard on TV. So there's another little bit of their fame increasing over the years. This has also got stupid noisy tracks on it, as well as a Dwarves cover. The inside has a nice picture of the Tony with a can of shaving cream or something or other. I used to have a t-shirt of this that stupidly I sold. I'm not sure why I sold that. Oh, it didn't actually fit me, but maybe that's why. But yeah, that was a cool shirt. And I actually sold, well, in inverted commas, a version of this to a guy that I used to be on a message board with from America, who said, "Oh yeah, I'll send you $5 for it," and never did. So Adam Conrad Corpse, you still owe me $5 for that DFF CD. But anyway, not the greatest release, but yeah, good stopover before the next album. Up next is their self-titled album from 2003. This one is the only album with JJ Lahore, aka Josh from Pod People, legendary Canberra doom band. He'd been with them live for a while, but yeah, this is the only album that he was on before they booted him out, and it's obviously released after he left because it already mentions Beltsy as their new guitarist, so it's a bit rude, but anyway. This has got the big hit songs like Drink, Fight, Fuck, and I Want to Do It with the Donna, and Sixsixsixteen. I love the Tony skit on here, and then the song On the Hunt, which is one of the better songs. This is a good sort of mixture of the the usual rock sort of songs that they started doing a bit more of, and the grindier stuff as well. It's even got a weird country song called New Corporate, which appears to be taking the piss out of new metal bands or something. It's got Craig Westwood from Christbait on it as well. And they even get guest vocals from Dave Evans, the original AC/DC singer, is on the song Sell Out. Not sure how that happened. I'm sure there's an amusing story behind it. I really love the song Vegan Feast, because it does sound much like a fisting song. Plus, there's also good songs, Drug Fiend and Dharma the Embalmer. Apparently this is a CD-ROM, apparently. I don't recall ever watching whatever the hell's on it, so I might have to bung it in my my computer after this and have a look. Around this period, I think they played the Big Day Out, which was a huge festival, mostly of nowhere near as heavy as Bloodduster sort of bands. So I think apparently they had a grand time doing it, and the crowd enjoyed it. I'm sure they would have. There was always this thing with the Big Day Out that I don't think they thought the women would enjoy the horrible metal bands too much, so it was pretty soft a lot of the time. Although I do regret not going to, I didn't go to any Big Day Outs, but I really regret not going to the earlier ones where Alchemist and Armored Angel played. That would have been killer, and yeah, I'm sure Bloodduster would have been great fun as well. I actually saw him around this era. I went to see The Haunted, only because Bloodduster was supporting him. I wasn't really a huge Haunted fan, although I did get to see DOA, the one song of theirs I quite enjoyed. So, but yeah, Bloodduster, killer alive. I've also got the vinyl version of this, which is number 329 of 400 on Apathic View Productions, with Boys in Blood, or probably Red Dye or whatever, and a whole lot of cool old photos that are a bit small, but probably shouldn't show too detailed on YouTube. I think there's some rude ones in there, but yeah, this is a great album. Around this time they released the EP I Want to Do It With a Donna, which was one of the songs off the self-titled, and has the Spazzies as their backing vocals. The Donnas were, I think, an alterno sort of band of Australia that obviously Bloodduster wanted to shag, so yeah, it was one of their bigger hit songs. The B-side is Midnight Nambler by Turbo Negro, so one of their obvious influences. Yeah, nothing super flash about it, but yeah, it's only 1,000 copies for some reason. I don't know why they made a whole 1,000 of these, but anyway, it's nice to have. And yeah, that's Kvlt, I think, covered in blood, looking stylish. So yeah, enjoyable. Next up was another EP off the self-titled album. This is Sixsixsixteen on CD, with a nice wasp cover. Apparently there's an alternate version of this I never realised, with Ray from the Hard-Ons, who's a wonderful artist, did a somewhat rude version that I'll put a picture up on. And it even says in here somewhere that if you write to the band, they'll send you the rude cover, so I'm really spewing I didn't do that. So I don't like my chances of just finding this in the wild anywhere anytime soon. I much prefer the other cover, but this sort of wasp piss take's still a good one as well. So this has the main song is, one of their classic songs. It's a killer sort of groove one. I also love the use on one of the other songs is Love Piss, which uses an amazing sample from League of Gentlemen, which is one of my favourite British comedies of depravity ever, and it's a really damn good sample. This has also got a second cover for some reason of It's a Man's World by Napalm Death. I'm never quite sure if they really like that song or think it's sexist, or I don't know. There's also a Dwarves cover on here, which is pretty bloody killer, or maybe I should actually check that band out at some stage. And there's like hidden tracks at the start as well, and yeah, the usual Bloodduster taking the piss sort of style. So yeah, hardly mandatory, but I'm glad I picked that one up. But I really wish I had the rude cover, because it's so much better. I would definitely buy that on a t-shirt. Up next was a DVD that I don't actually own, but it's on its way. It's in the mail. It's supposed to be here next week, I believe, so you can still get this from Direct Merch. I'll put the link down the bottom. But yeah, they did a DVD called The Shape of Death to Come, with obvious Refused Piss Take cover. This is just a video of a heap of different gigs over the years, mostly around 2003, 2004, but there's some older stuff, including one with like Neil from Undernism on an old song, I think. At the end there's a full gig with multiple camera angles and pretty decent sound, so it's definitely worth checking out. But really the live stuff is bloody good fun. It's very varying in quality. But highlight for me really are the interspersed stupid little clips of each other dicking around on tour. It was like a whole lot of incriminating ones of them smoking bongs. Surprisingly, not too many other dodgy drug bits. But yeah, them just being idiots. The highlights for me are him conning some guy into licking up vomit off the ground. I won't spoil the punchline there. And also poor Tony the singer copping a whole glass full of piss thrown on him. He did not seem very happy afterwards. So yeah, there's all sorts of debauchery to be seen on there. Yeah, it's pretty rude. Including plenty of cocks and or balls to be seen. So yeah, not for the faint-hearted, but I'm glad it's coming in the mail. I watched it again recently. It was, yeah, amusing. There's another video that I don't actually own that I think my old flatmate Andy has. It's Obscene Extreme from, I don't know, 2005 or somewhere around there apparently. I don't actually remember exactly what's on it other than them on stage, but it includes Jason playing completely naked. Obscene Extreme was a rather kink-friendly, wacky grind festival there. So it's him playing completely naked with a see-through bass. So yeah, there's nothing left to the imagination, and manages to piss on the bass and flick some of the piss into the crowd, which is, I'm sure they appreciated it, including I believe he might have hit Shade Embry from Napalm Death as well, because I've seen reference to that in interviews. But yeah, it was pretty good quality. I think I might have to try and track that one down. But the DVD I do currently own of theirs is, or that they're on, is Maryland Death Fest 2, which is just live clips of all the bands that played MDF. I was there that year. I don't actually remember Blood Dust in particular. Maybe maybe there was a clashing band that were better that I hadn't seen like 40 times or whatever. So yeah, their live stuff's pretty good. I think Tony's a bit loud on it, but man, what are you going to do? I'm pretty sure that year, oh no, I think I did see them because that was one of the party brigade threw, you know, like glow sticks at them and blow up toys and all sorts of stupid shit. It was great fun. But one of the best bits is them being interviewed by, I don't know, the filmmaker, and just dodgy incriminating shit about, like, you know, obviously admitting to visa fraud and trying to score drugs and all this. I think it was possibly just to horrify the producer, but yeah, it was good fun. Up next is 2007's Lyden Nå. This is the Aussie version with a different cover than the Euro one. This one was, yeah, it's probably my least favourite of the Bloodduster ones, I think. It's still pretty killer, don't get me wrong, but yeah, they split the rock stuff into one disc, and then the grind stuff into a different disc, and then there was a third sort of part of it, which was a really long sort of drone kind of song that it's kind of shit. You could download that one. So yeah, just, I don't know. I really enjoy their songs being, you know, like mixed. So the rock stuff got a bit sort of boring after a while. The grind stuff got a bit samey, but yeah, maybe I should reorder the songs on my phone or something so I can listen to them, you know, mixing it up quite a bit. There's still some killer songs. 3070's one of their classics. Rock and Roll Jihad's pretty good, so it's still pretty good, but I don't know, I think they might have been running out of ideas possibly by that stage, so, but still worth tracking down. And yeah, this is the fancy Euro version with cooler cover. I think that's Gleno work maybe, but, and yeah, the boys looking tough with weapons like they're NWA or something or other. Yeah, again, not my favourite album, but still worthwhile. Up next in 2008 was a split with Venonous Concept. Venonous Concept was I think they're still going, a band with like Brutal Truth and Melvins and maybe Napalm members as well. I can't even remember what their stuff sounds like on this. The Bloodduster stuff's pretty good actually. I think Looking Forward to a Long and Toxic Death's one of their better later songs. This also has a cover of the song Filthy Trash, which is by an old Melbourne punk band called Depression. That was one of my earliest introductions to punk. I had a tape of it somewhere, their album Ultra Hardcore Mega Heavy Punk Metal Thrash. I don't remember it being particularly good, to tell the truth, but it was still an introduction to have. I can't even remember what their cover sounds like on it, but yeah, what are you going to do? I'm kind of sad I didn't get there's a another version of this with like a handmade latex sort of version of it instead, but I missed that one, so oh well, what are you going to do? Up next are 3 7-inches that I don't actually own. It's a bit painful, I've got to say. It's the only holes in my collection really, other than, you know, variations of albums that I already have. First up is a Sixsixsixteen remix. This was done by a jungle DJ from like Ontario, Canada, for some reason. I have no idea how they hooked up or what the hell happened, but it's yeah, I missed it because there was only 100 copies. It's yeah, it's a piss take kind of remix. I'm not sure if the DJ was serious about it, but yeah, it's not really not really that amazing. But still, I do want to buy it. So if you ever see it for sale, I'll buy it. But yeah, I'll put a link to it below. I don't think I have it actually digitally. It's only on YouTube, so. The next one I don't own because, again, there's only 150 copies of it, is Bloodduster and the Dwarves split. They toured with the Dwarves a number of times over the years. Obviously got along pretty well. They covered several of their versions. I think Jason's a big fan. This one has just live versions of Sixsixsixteen. I love it when Joe Pesci swears and motherfucking, but so hardly mandatory. I don't think. I don't even know what the what Dwarves songs are on there because I don't know. But yeah, one day I'll track it down. I have seen it on Discogs, but it wasn't cheap, so it was slightly out of my range of, yeah, probably going to listen to it like a handful of times. Yeah, anyway, one day I'll get it. Last up is a split they did with Brutal Truth, fellow grind band, and yeah, the band they toured with multiple times, obviously good friends. The Bloodduster side is just a cover of Hooch by the Melvins, which is not too bad. I think it must be Jason singing normal sort of style and then Tony doing his growling bits in part of it as well. I was kind of surprised they didn't play like Honey Bucket because, I don't know, that would have sounded kind of cool with Bloodduster style, I reckon, but yeah, what are you going to do? Again, one day I'll pick that one up, but yeah, not a mandatory one so far. One thing I'll mention, I'm not sure on the timing of it, I just got MP3s of it off my mate Brad many years ago. A musician or two from Melbourne did a piss take on a whole batch of Melbourne metal bands, including Bloodduster, the Berserker, Alarum, Anarian, and Contrive. There's obviously someone who knows these people. It was like very personal sort of piss take. The Bloodduster one's hilarious. It's like a comedy sort of sketch. It has like Bloodduster on stage and includes a batch of like Peter Jackson samples that they didn't actually use, and just taking the piss out of Tony sounding a bit slurred and drunken on stage. It's a very good imitation. It always sounds quite a bit like him. I suspect Bloodduster saw the very funny side of it because it's yeah, pretty good piss take. But I don't know about some of the other more serious metal bands on there. The Anarian one's pretty brutal. Alarum probably got a laugh out of it. The Berserker one's hilarious. But yeah, the most cutting one on there is Contrive. It was a yeah, I don't know if they're still going, a Melbourne sort of, I don't know, groove metal band. They were sort of popular, but it's just shreddingly nasty. It's so good. I'll put links to them. I think Brad from Internal Rod has all their stuff on his YouTube channel, so there's like about a handful of like 7 or 8 tracks, but the Bloodduster one's just hilarious. So well done, especially if you've seen them or know them at all. It's very fitting. Alright, Bloodduster's last official album was 2012's Kvlt. This is the one and only album with Dave Haley from Psychroptic and about a million other bands. He replaced Rizzo and played on this, but no one's ever heard it because, as you may well know, it's scratched. They scratched the master. As you can see, did a great big pentagram down there that they just scratched into the master, so every version that was pressed, and there was only 55 pressed for the public and 5 for the band, so I'm very lucky I got that. Yeah, none of them work. You could probably play it for like, 2 seconds and then it so there is they did release an EP called Suck, which was about 4 or 5 songs off it, which weren't too bad. The band that Fame Forgot is the highlight on that. It's a really great song. And they also have one song on this Bastard Fest, but I think it's, what is it? Poor People Like to Fuck Too or something or other. And yeah, it's like 2 seconds of a song and then a, scratched needle sound. So yeah, I have asked Jason, and he's told me that no, it's definitely deleted, because once they ripped the master and then buggered it up, they deleted all the files apparently. So it was done just so for the band themselves. I can understand that as an artistic point of view, and also part of Bloodduster's usual antagonism of their fans. Good work. I love your work. I still wouldn't be surprised to see it come out one day, but probably not. But yeah, I'm glad I have a copy of it. So even though it's a worthless bit of plastic, really. But yeah, I have one of 55 in the wild copies, so very happy with that. The very final Bloodduster release was 2017's All That Remains. This one only came out on record and digital version, so I don't think there's a CD of it. Mine's the spoofy coloured vinyl version of it. There's all sorts of variants for it. This is essentially a compilation of EPs and covers and stuff. It's got the Suck, Drink Fight Fuck, Sixsixsixteen, I Want to Do With the Donnas, and I think the Venonous Concept split on it. So yeah, it's a compilation of odds and sods. Still worth getting. You may actually still be able to track it down, possibly. It's only 5 years old, it's not that old, so you might be able to get a copy somewhere. It does have a cover of the Oz rock classic by The Angels, Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again, which is somewhat legendary in Aussie rock circles. Is one that when they play it live, the chorus is "Am I ever going to see your face again?" and the crowd usually yell out, "No way, get fucked, fuck off." Love to know how that started, but and yeah, my old bogan brother Julian told me that one. Good work. Yeah, that's their version. It's alright. I don't know, I kind of expected it to be a bit more full on and ridiculous, but what are you going to do? And in true idiotic fashion, the last song on the final Bloodduster release is just farts, and then like a backwards masked bit that I reversed, and it just says "Limp Bizkit of the new Bon Jovi." So lovely, totally irrelevant, ridiculous final statement. So, but yeah, it was still a worthy release. All That Remains came out around the same time as their final gig ever, which was the 9th of December 2017 at the Corner Hotel in Melbourne. I was lucky enough to get there. The tickets they sold were like, I think, $6.66. Evil tickets. And yeah, sold out very, very rapidly, so I'm glad I grabbed one of those. Tell the truth, it wasn't the most amazing Bloodduster gig I've ever been to. Admittedly, I had a few beers, so I was maybe a bit tipsy. And yeah, I think the band actually were hungover from the night before they played at the Tote, which is a much smaller venue. I really wish I went to that now, because apparently that was messy. They're pretty raucous. So I think they were still a bit hungover from that. Yeah, I went to a different gig that night in Melbourne. It was a South Korean band, Little Princess Puppy, I think they're called, touring, playing with some killer Melbourne bands, so I had to go to that. Well, I didn't have to. I kind of regret it now. I wish I'd gone and seen Bloodduster twice in their final days. But yeah, it was still a killer gig. They played with like Contaminated, Fuck 'Em Dead. Who I don't remember a thing about Fuck 'Em Dead. Maybe that was the booze. Maybe I was too busy chatting with friends. Reaper and Blunt Shovel and Nick Grip. I don't know. Various other bands played as well, but I don't remember any of them other than Bloodduster. It was a really good gig to catch up with a lot of old mates, so that was excellent fun. Apparently Renato from Disembowelment was there, so glad no one told me that at the time, or I might have been an idiot fanboy and gone, "Oh, I love your music, mate," because I'd never actually met him. So, But no, Bloodduster, I just kind of expected something slightly more outlandish. Not that they'd, like kill themselves on stage or something, but something ridiculous. But I don't know, maybe it happened I was too drunk to notice. But it was still killer. I have such great memories of them over the years from a number of gigs. Metal for the Brain ones were probably the highlight because they just got huge crowd and just got to do their thing. But yeah, I'm very happy that I was at their final gig. So where are they now? That's the question. No idea where Ewan or Finn, who were on, straight out of Northcote era, no idea what those guys are up to. Shane Rout was in Abyssicate for a number of years. I think he drummed for like Destroyer 666 as well for a while. But I'm pretty sure Abyssicate's finished now. Dave Haley is still in a million bands. He's in like a Bramelin, King, Psychroptic, Ruins, Werewolves. The list goes on. Belty is still in Mindsnare, I believe. That's his main sort of band over the years. Killer Melbourne hardcore band. Bloody excellent. JJ Lahore is in a revitalised Pod People, who had a bit of a gap for a while. I believe they've been playing live a bit, and I believe they're recording a new album at the moment, so looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the Golden Crop reunion one day. Addy Rizzo is in Wombed Tomb, I believe, who I'll hopefully be seeing at this festival that's coming up next year. Looking forward to that. Don't actually know what they sound like. Pretty brutal, deathy, I think. He was also in over the years of Bramelin, King Parrot, Order of Chaos, and probably one of my more favourite of his versions was Engraved, aka Hellspawn, the black metal band that he was in. I just remember seeing them live once, and yeah, he's a very good drummer, and seeing him do like super fast black metal was excellent stuff. Who else is there? Matty Collins. I'm not sure what he's up to these days. Not much, I don't think, although I believe he was on Grand Designs Australia at one point, so keep an eye out for that. Tonebone is he's the singer of King, which is black metal sort of band, killer stuff, as well as in singer of Remains, where he's developed his stage persona even further into Randy Macho Man Savage sort of styles. They're a great sort of grind band with members of Fuck 'Em Dead and Captain Cleanoff in them. Plus Tony was in The Day Everything Became Nothing for most of their career, and that was one of my favourite Aussie bands, killer gore grind stuff. And he was also in The Kill briefly on their soundtrack to Your Violence EP. I'm not sure if he actually played live with them or not, but... And then back to Jason, the main guy of the band. He's still in Burn the Hostages, which is a sort of sludgy kind of band. Pretty bloody good. He's also in The Birdcage, which is a surf rock band, which is a strange one, but they're really good. They have a really killer album. EP's pretty good as well, so I'd be looking forward to seeing them one day. He's also in a band called The Ruiner with ex-members of Christbait, so they haven't done anything for quite a while. They put out an album which came out in this ridiculous limited edition with like a metal box for some reason that was designed to like scratch the shit out of everything. I just got the normal version, but yeah, they were great, sort of, I don't know, sounded pretty much like Christbait really. So I hope they're still going, but I haven't seen anything from them for quite a while. He was also in Captain Cleanoff and another band called Dern Rutledge that were sort of alternative stoner rocky kind of legends for a while, although I always hated them really. Saw them live a few times, and the whole time I'm just sitting there going, you got like two members of Christbait, why don't you just friggin' play some Christbait? Anyway, so yeah, he's still doing the rounds, plus he's doing a lot of production work at Goat Sound. Does an excellent job at producing and engineering and all sorts of stuff, so keep up the good work, mate. So, thanks for watching my retrospective of Bloodduster. If you have any amusing stories to tell, as I'm sure there are many amusing stories about them on the road and in the studio over the years, so feel free to leave a comment below or talk about your favourite Bloodduster, whatever you like. Legendary band. Very, very glad to own so much of their crap and also have seen them live so many times. So, thanks fellas. Good work over the years. Love your work.